As you're watching this opening visual, this opening cinematic from two versions of Warcraft 3 Reforged, please tell me which one that you would rather see. I think it's fairly obvious, but I think you should still have a look and just sort of see what it's all about. So I'm going to let it play in the background. Welcome to today's video. My name's Red, and today we're going to be discussing this game because unfortunately it is not doing very well. A lot of people are upset, and from what we can see, even from here, this is one point of contention. As you're probably already no doubt aware, the one on the left from 2018 is quite cinematic. It shows up close and personal viewpoints. It feels like you're as part of the story, whereas the Reforged 2021 adopts more of a outside of the view or outside of the direct area. This is really unfortunate because people were promised a lot more. This goes hand in hand with why, unfortunately, Warcraft 3 Reforged is a colossal disappointment to many. Today's article comes from Forbes, and I'm going to go through some of the dot points here. So at the top here, this is really just the shortcomings of Blizzard. So we're not going to go over that. I'll let you go over that in your own time. We're talking directly about Warcraft 3 Reforged. So Warcraft 3 Reforged adds insult to injury and has riled up Blizzard fans yet again, and for good reason. The game is a mess, and not only that, some of the ways that Reforged is a mess actually impact the original Warcraft 3. So even if you didn't buy the remaster and just want to play your old game, you'll still face some of the problems with the new launcher connecting to servers and so forth. Within this paragraph alone, you already see that unfortunately this is not going to go too well. And if you're thinking that this game is going to be a roller coaster, strap yourselves in because it's only just getting started. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below and say hello. Let me know if you've purchased this game, because I for one was going to, given the circumstances of how beloved this game is. I've played the original version of it, but a very long time ago, and I don't even think I finished it because I really didn't have access to the PC at that time. But even for someone like myself who's not very well acquainted with the game as like others would be, I still really enjoy this game, having been like an Age of Empires fan back in the day and still currently. So with that, let's get into this a little bit more. So what exactly is going on with Reforged? Well, let's break it down a little bit. So from here, Blizzard promised better cutscenes with improved graphics, cinematics, and voice work. But what they showed off at BlizzCon, even as far back as 2018, is not what we got in the final game. You can compare the Blizzard footage. Now, we've already done that. You already saw it, okay? For those of you who don't know what the original Warcraft 3 looks like, you can do a quick Google search and you can have a look. Yes, it does look better, but just have a look again. Just take it back to that footage that you just saw. You know, look at the footage. Let's bring it up again. It's very cinematic, as opposed to wide range, all the way out of the action. You feel like you're just overseeing something as opposed to being a part of it, and that's bad because people want to be reinvested in this game because it is a reimagining. Those are Blizzard's words, by the way, of the game in question. You know, Warcraft 3 has been around for a long time, and it is still played heavily today. Unfortunately, due to the circumstances as to what's happening with this game, that's no longer the case, but I will get onto that in just a moment, so let's continue. Gamers are reporting numerous bugs, crashes, hang-ups, assets not loading, and many other problems that shouldn't exist in a remaster of a decades-old game. Decades. Some are saying the UI looks worse than before, others say the game in general looks worse, though this is subjective, which I can certainly understand. I mean, the game now, from what I've seen of the gameplay, looks okay. Like, models look nice, area, like, effects look good, but that's, you know, as it says, it is subjective. People will either like it or not. Many users have been experiencing login and connectivity issues as well. Connecting to custom matches or even accessing the campaign has been an issue for many. Now, every single time World of Warcraft releases a new expansion, Blizzard goes through this problem. You know, they do. Look at World of Warcraft Classic. One of the most famous memes out there is the "I think you think you do, but you don't." Well, Blizzard really ate their words on that one, because when that was within direct reference to Classic, and when Classic WoW came out, people did, and they did. They just simply ate it up. Classic saw subscribers numbers come straight back up, and everyone started loving it. So, you know, it threw that right out of perspective. Now, in saying that, have a look at the issues with that. Yeah, they had long queues. They had like mass kickings, like people getting logged out of the game because the servers would crash and all that sort of stuff. And did people complain? Yes, a little bit, as they always do. But it was more from the lack of not being able to play it out of pure excitement and anticipation, rather than frustration and anger and disappointment. I think even if your game suffers from these things at launch, whether it be World of Warcraft or whatever it may be, if the game is good, you will find that people won't complain about it too much, despite the fact they can't actually play it. To have this come out and say that it's got problems like this really paints a picture as to how bad it could actually be, especially given the fact that from what we've read up the top here, it's affecting the base game as well. So, at the very least, if you could not play Reforged, you could at least play the original game. That's the standard. That's how it should be. It's actually a first for me. I've never heard of a company affecting the original game by remastering it. It's a first. Unless someone can tell me another one, like, I can't think of one. I even went and had a look online and I couldn't find anything. It's just odd, you know, and this is what's stemming to the problem, because now people are cut off from both sides. It's not the fact that I can't access the new one, I'll play the old one. You've been cut at both ends. So now you're floating in the middle of nowhere with nothing. And you can understand then why people get upset. So for here, now that both Reforged and the original game are on the same online infrastructure, those connectivity issues will impact the original as well. I've just stated that. So again, that comes down to Battle.net. So both the games now are directly linked to Battle.net, and then my previous comment, you know, so they're on the same line. One gets affected, both get affected. So here, some basic features of the original are no longer in the remaster. According to one user on Reddit, this includes automated tournaments, clans, profiles, competitive ladder, and much more. This is something that, as I said, I've never really played and really heavily got into Warcraft the original, Warcraft 3, but to not have that at launch seems still a little bit odd. You know, maybe you could forgo it for like a week and go, look, it's not out at launch, it's coming out in a week. How about just play through the campaign and enjoy it just for 1 week? I think if they came out and said that, I think a lot of people, if the game was good and steady and everyone was happy with it, people wouldn't care. You know, it's because it's so beloved. I have to go back to it. Because it's so beloved, people would sit there and go, well, I'm going to at least play it through one more time. Like, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm just going to relax. I'm going to chill out. I'm going to play a game that I really love, and then I'll get competitive with it. You know, I've re-experienced it, the reimagining. It's got all these lovely new textures, graphics, all this sort of stuff. If it was like the one that we saw in 2018, it puts me right in there. But when you take those away one by one, it's a bit harder to connect. It's a bit harder to be happy about it. So, or to forgive the fact that it doesn't have these things at launch. So this one here is an absolute doozy, and I've got a screenshot that I will show you to sort of give you an idea of it. But from here, the new user agreements includes language that essentially copyrights all user-created custom games, giving Blizzard complete control over all user-generated content. The implications of this are pretty huge, but essentially it is an attempt by Blizzard to never let another Dota 2 situation happen again. It is also deeply misguided, and there's a very real question about whether it's actually legally binding to begin with. So, this here, on no less than Wowhead, is the part of the contract that you agree to. It's your terms of service, basically. So from here, ownership. Custom games are and shall remain the sole and exclusive property of Blizzard. Without limiting the foregoing, you hereby assign to Blizzard all of your rights, title, and interest in all custom games, including but not limited to any copyrights in the content of any custom game. If for any reason you are prevented or restricted from assigning any rights in the custom game to Blizzard, you grant Blizzard an exclusive, perpetual, worldwide, unconditional, royalty-free, irrevocable license, enabling Blizzard to fully exploit the custom games or any component therefore of, for any purpose and in any manner whatsoever. Use of third-party content in custom games. You represent and warrant that neither the content you use or create or incorporate into any custom games nor the compilation, arrangement, or display of such content infringes or will infringe any copyright, trademark, patent, trade secret, or other intellectual property right of any third party. So what does that mean? Well, for those of you who don't know, Dota 2 Dota stands for Defense of the Ancients, which is a mod which came from Warcraft 3. And Blizzard went, as it said in the Forbes article, to court and battled Valve out for this, saying you can't just own that game because it comes from our game. Even though it used assets from that game, it was very different because it was a mod. It was free, it had no monetary value, and people really just played the mod. The thing is, Dota 2 was also free. So, well, it's a free-to-play game, so it does have some microtransactions, but still, nevertheless. So Blizzard lost that because it was considered to be a different property away from that. So now Blizzard has implemented this to stop that from happening again, because with the original Dota, or Defense of the Ancients, it was, from what I know, the first MOBA on the market. I say on the market, it was a mod, right? But with Dota 2, like, it set the standard for MOBA, you know? And then you get like your League of Legends and all this sort of stuff come out, Smite, that all draw influence from that one game. And Blizzard saw no money whatsoever. Nothing. Okay? So with that, you can understand why they may be a little bit pissed off. But now, with this, I can't believe I'm saying this because it's just unbelievable. But you cannot expect to own anything that you create in Warcraft 3 Reforged. Nothing. It is all the ownership, or the owner of Blizzard. Okay? Blizzard entirely owns the rights to it. And if it's something that's successful, you will see nothing for it whatsoever. This is going to impede people's want to create content in this game, because they know that Blizzard can just go, no, it's ours. We don't care how popular it is. We don't care how it is. We might implement it. We're going to make money off it. And then you are not going to see a thing. I'm sure there are people out there who maybe made money making content of Warcraft 3. Who knows? Okay, but with the popularity of Dota, Valve certainly cleaned up. They purchased the guy who made the mod, but they hired on the guy who made the mod. That's why Dota 2 came out like that. Okay, so there is a lot there, but basically it is just now Blizzard have said, nah, that's it, we're not doing that anymore. So from here, and this one here, you think this is bad up until now, this here just pours salt on that wound, and that wound is already, like, you are done. You are on the way out. So with that, fans are attempting to get refunds, some with more success than others. I'm not sure how accurate it is, but others are reporting users being banned from the Blizzard forums for complaining or asking for refunds. Take that with a grain of salt, but if it's true, it's a problem. There's actually one more rumor that's going around in terms of the ban hammer. It's the fact that people are being banned from the Blizzard forums for linking forums, chats, or like discussions showing how they can go about getting a refund from Blizzard, and they are apparently being banned for that. That is just bizarre. Like, I cannot believe that's the case. And how can we even trust Blizzard now that all this stuff is happening? I want to finish this video discussion with a statement. How can we trust Blizzard going forward, knowing what is happening now within their games? Okay, World of Warcraft, okay, people may be unhappy with the current expansions update, the current patch, but realistically speaking, the game is all there. To dislike content is one thing, but to have content be broken and promises unfulfilled, and for a lot of people believing that what they got as opposed to what was shown is completely different, and they purchased the game under false advertisement, and then to have issues not with just the new version of the game, but the old version of the game, coupled with an updated user agreement that stops you from being creative because Blizzard will stop you from earning anything or getting any recognition for that, as well as possibly being banned for trying to help people with refunds. The statement I'm going to make is, or I've already made it, is how can we trust them going forward? I suppose the only thing I can do is ask this question. If things are as bad as it is right now, what's Diablo 4 gonna be like? How could we possibly be excited for Diablo 4 knowing everything that we know so far with Reforged? If Diablo 4 has any of this going on with it, could you imagine the backlash? Right, and the backlash will be quite substantial when you remember. If you've forgotten, you need to remember the fact that Diablo Immortal has already taken place. People have already been like really upset with Blizzard over Diablo recently. If Diablo 4 does not meet the expectations of the fan base, they're going to have a serious problem, and I think it's something that they may not be able to recover from, because they have already damaged their name quite heavily in the last couple of years. And I will do a video on that discussing it. But with that, I think I'm going to leave this video here. Please let me know your comments down below, and let me know, how do you feel about this Reforged situation? I, for one, was looking forward to playing through the game properly for the first time and actually finishing it. But as from what I've heard so far, I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. It's just, from everything that's been discussed in this video and everything that's been heard, like, there's just no way. It's not a wise purchase at the moment, I don't feel. And I think Blizzard's got a lot of work to do before that game is finished, because I honestly believe it has been rushed. But those are my thoughts anyway. with that, please like, comment, and subscribe if you did in fact like this video. We do Let's Play videos every day at 11 AM Melbourne time, and we do these type of videos known as Red Talks every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So with that, I will see you next time. My name's Red, and I'm out.